Hello and welcome to this brief video about the changes to Turnitin and Turnitin Feedback Studio as it relates to Blackboard. You might have noticed that the way that you add Turnitin assignments and access Turnitin assignments has changed. Let's talk about why that is and what's going on exactly. So, Turnitin is changing the way it intersects with Blackboard. It's moving from an older building block model to a newer standards-based LTI or Learning Tools Interoperability plugin. Turnitin will phase out completely the old way of using Turnitin in the summer of 2022. Learning Tools Interoperability is one of the critical interoperability standards needed to integrate multiple campus systems so that institutions can create a coherent technology ecosystem or shared environments with products from several different vendors. So think of this like how Blackboard interacts with Kaltura, with LinkedIn Learning, with publisher content, and indeed with Turnitin. Part of this also leans towards accessibility and how most of these plugins weren't quite as accessible as they could be, but now because of this new standard that they're using, they're forced to be more accessible. So it's another reason yet for them to make the change. So now that you know why there's a change, let's talk about the timeline. Back in August, we sent out a newsletter about how we were going to approach this in a phased way. Phase one in the fall was how instructors can start to use that new method to add Turnitin assignments, while the old method to add was still available. As of the spring, phase two began, and instructors were able to only create Turnitin assignments and interact with Turnitin assignments via the new method. However, older assignments will still be there for the students if they were copied in. And the good news there is that means that the assignments didn't go away if you're still using them. You just have to access them a little differently, and we'll get to that. In the summer is when we're completely getting rid of, we won't have the ability to copy the old Turnitins over. They won't function because of the way Turnitin is just end-of-lifing that particular tool. So now you'll need to do everything via the new method, which I will show you how that works. But now we know a little bit more about the why and the timeline. Let's talk about what does that mean for me? Like, how does that impact me as an instructor in the way that I teach now? Well, that's a good question, right? So what does it mean for me as an instructor? Well, if I have assignments that I'm reusing, right? I've copied my course over, it contained a Turnitin assignment in week 2 that's still there, it worked great, that's fine. The students can still submit via that assignment. You just grade it a little differently, and we'll walk you through how that works in a little bit. It also is going to change the way you create new Turnitin assignments and grade those same assignments. So I'm going to show you how that's done just with us from a slide-by-slide standpoint, and then we'll walk you through what that looks like in a live environment. All right? Awesome. So the good news, grading old Turnitin assignments that you've copied from a previous semester, right? How does that work, Jacob? Well, pretty easy. I actually, as the instructor, can grade those assignments and access my Turnitin assignment inbox by clicking on the same link that I posted for my students to submit. So in week 2, where it says Turnitin assignments, I can click that link and it will take me to the assignment inbox for that particular assignment. From there, I will see all of those submissions. So you see here on this screen, the ability for me to click on the assignment link in my course. And then I can come in and access my assignment inbox. What I can do from that assignment inbox is I can grade, I can check my accessibility score and go get my originality report for this particular assignment the student submitted. I can also check when the assignment was submitted, so I know if they got it in on time or if I wanted to make sure. That's how I can figure out when it was submitted. Lastly, and for convenience sake, it allows me to download all of the original documents so that I can grade them on my own, right? So that I can go in and do my grading for content rather than for the similarity report that's done by Turnitin. So all of these things are still accessible to you, the instructor, just by going to the very same link that your students use to submit the assignment. So that's how you'll grade. So let's talk about creating a new Turnitin assignment. Remember, I'm going to walk you through this via the slide, but I'm also going to give it to you in a live format how you'll create, right? So for starters, I go to the place in my course where I want to place that assignment. In the old Turnitin building block format, we'd go to the assessment drop-down menu and choose Turnitin assignment. Because of the way the new LTI works, it's added via the build content menu. And this becomes more important when we actually move into an ultra environment in Blackboard in terms of how it interacts inside Blackboard as well. It changes how it's added. But for our purposes now, just know that you go to Build Content and choose Turnitin Feedback Studio. At that point, you'll be taken to that wonderful interface where you create your assignment. You go in and you provide the name of the assignment, the details, the description, the max points, the due date, the start date, the feedback release date. I can even choose to enable peer mark if I want to do some peer grading here in this particular environment. Then optional settings that we'll walk through in the live environment in just a little bit. So that's how you add a new Turnitin assignment. You just move your mouse, you hover your mouse one button to the left where you used to hover, right? Instead of assessment, you choose Build Content, scroll down and choose Turnitin Feedback Studio. Grading is the same way I graded the old one. I go to the assignment link in the course that I placed for my students to submit, and that's where I go and access the inbox for that particular assignment. So if there are no questions there, we're actually going to get into the next portion of our wonderful assignment, if you will, and that's going to be our looking at the course, right? Checking out the course and seeing how I do this, how I grade, how I add, how I interact, those types of things, right? So let's look at it in a live environment. So we're looking in here just a sample course. Not a live course with any real students in it. It's just me and then my student account. So I can get in and show this to you, right? So here's my Turnitin assignment right down here. To access my assignment inbox for this course, I just click the link. And what it does is it opens up that LTI right here for me to look at the assignment inbox. All of the submissions for this particular assignment will show up right here. So you see I still have my breadcrumb trail here for the dummy assignment, modules, sandbox, blah, blah, blah. That stuff is there. My course is there, so I can still find my way back. However, my assignment inbox, oh, look, there it is. The student submission, and then the ID, the time it was submitted, as well as the date. Then whether it was viewed, I viewed it, or my student viewed my feedback. Whether I have graded it yet. And then my similarity report that I can access here. And then right here, that download all that I talked about. If I had a whole bunch of them, I could just download them and start grading them right then. So all of these things are available for me right now, right here at this interface. So that's how that's how you grade. You just start by clicking on that assignment link, and it takes you right to the assignment inbox, and you get access to the same things you had via the Turnitin dashboard that we had in the previous version, right? So let's go back a step, and let's talk about how we add a Turnitin assignment. How does that work, right? How do I create that Turnitin assignment? Well, I will show you now. The Turnitin assignment is created just by going to Build Content, and we scroll down to Turnitin assignment. And Turnitin Feedback Studio, and I click on that, right? Turnitin Feedback Studio. It then takes me, it launches the LTI again, where I can come in and give the assignment its title, and I can call it, I'm going to call it the plagiarism assignment. I'll be original with my assignment name, and please submit your assignment following way too many L's, these instructions. And then the instructions would be there. I could give it a max grade here that would then be translated into my grade center, grade book for the students. I could give that assignment start date, the due date, and then the feedback release date for that particular assignment. And then when I was ready, I would just hit submit. And then it's there. Now, I didn't show you a couple other things first. So what I'm going to do is actually delete that assignment, and I'm going to come back and re-add another assignment. So I'm going to go to Build Content, scroll down, choose Turnitin Feedback Studio. I'm then going to name it Sample Assignment. And then the instructions would have gone here, and then max grade again. Now, I get to those settings. Remember the other settings, the optional settings, just to show you where they are. You just click here under optional settings, it expands them. Do I want to submit papers to the standard paper repository, or do I not want to? Do I want to allow submissions, late submissions? Do I want a grammar check? Do I want to attach a rubric? Do I want to compare again? What do I want to compare against? Similarity report options, right? Do I want the report to be generated immediately? Or do I want to let the students keep resubmitting until the due date? Or do I want it to be immediately but allow them to keep submitting? Or don't do it immediately but keep allowing them to submit, right? Do I want to have the exclusions here? All those good types of things. Those settings are available right here in that settings option. Same thing when I'm ready, I hit submit. And that is how you go through and you grade your older Turnitin assignments, but also you create and grade your newer Turnitin assignments. So if I wanted to grade this one, if I had submissions for it, I would just click on that link and it would take me to my grading space where I could go in and download the assignments, the whole 9 yards. If you have any problems with this or any questions about how you might best use this, reach out to your instructional designer. If you have any technical issues, you can always give our support desk a holler and we will be glad to talk with you. Also, you can reach out to me, Jacob Spradlin at shsu.edu. I hope this helps, and I hope you have a great day.